Hello team, welcome again to ERP Academy. In today's session, we are going to discuss about a principle known as Pareto Analysis. This talks about 80-20. Just to go for a recap, if you recollect some time back, I have had a session about VUCA world. In that, I have said how the situation keeps changing, how dramatically things will change, which will be very uncertain, which will be very complicated, and how best possible we can tide over that one. If you have not seen that video, straight away get into this link and have a look of that video. Later on, one of our community member during REVUP, when he was talking about spare parts manager, that's Mr. Lakshmi Narayan, he has spoken about Pareto principle in spare parts, how it gets applied. That is 80-20 principle. Then again, our colleagues in the academy, Pro Shrikant, has spoken about what is a professional. Then Pro Srinivasan spoken about goal setting. Please go to these links and have a look of it if you have not seen it. In continuation of that, today we are discussing this 80-20 principle or Pareto analysis. What does it mean? Let us have an understanding of that. The broad understanding is in any field of area, any kind of activity, 20% of the effort gives the maximum result what is required. How it is analyzed, there are many examples, but for us to understand easily, put in with current scenario, let me take two examples. We are all professionals. We all wear uniform according to our designation, nature of job, all that we wear uniform during our active professional life, isn't it? And if you see that we almost 6 days in a week, sometimes even 7 days, we wear this uniform, isn't it? Now, at the maximum, if you consider how many sets of uniform we will have, 2, at the maximum 3, not more than that. Whereas occasionally, once in a week, or occasionally we wear other clothes, colored clothes of our choice. How many sets we have? Minimum we'll have 10 sets, isn't it? So that is known as 80-20 principle. If I have to give another example of the recent current situation, what we are into, this COVID-19 pandemic was spread to entire world by 20% of the people. It is not that everybody got, it is not like that. Everybody got by virtue of only 15 to 20% of people spreading this pandemic. That is again, we call it as 80-20 principle. Then I know one of my friend, who is very intimate with me. He loves to wear blazers whenever opportunity comes. And he has some 8 to 9 blazers, if I counted correctly. But for whatever reasons, surprisingly, I see this gentleman always in navy blue blazer. Although he has so many blazers, but generally he wears that navy blue blazer, which is he has only one. Yes, rest of the other things he wears very rarely. But one blazer worn. Maximum other blazers are rare, but you have set of time. Again, we can see it as 80-20 principle. One more incident I would like to communicate, which I've experienced. In my previous engagement, we had many service centers spread across the city, out of the city, and all. So regularly, in turn, I used to visit those workshops to see the process in place, to assist in any kind of difficulty they are facing, sort out problem inside so that it would not get escalated. So for these kind of activities, I used to visit each workshop on a regular basis. In one of the workshop, one fine day when I went, and it was a practice, service manager used to introduce any customer who is around. He used to introduce me, he is so and so, head of our service, like that. They used to introduce. It was a common practice which was in place. So coming back to that particular workshop on particular day when I visited, in service manager cabin, I saw a well-dressed gentleman sitting, and as soon as I entered the cabin, the service manager of that location introduced, sir, he is so and so. He is a very regular customer to us, and he has a lot of trust and faith in us, and he is a very, what do you call, regular uh, to our workshop, loyal to our workshop. And so I sat down to do my regular work, went around and came back. This gentleman was also there, and he was very inquisitive. He asked me a lot of questions, and of course, one more thing was he was also from automobile background. Of course, not with the OEM, but a vendor OEM, a major vendor OEM. He was at a very high post, at a very senior level. He was working, so he knew a lot about the field. So we discussed a lot of commonalities, lot of discussion. He was throughout with me, and he was entire day in the workshop. That itself caught up my some kind of my uh, kind of enthusiasm that why this gentleman is spending whole day in workshop. I was little uh, concerned about that one. What made him to spend so much of time in the workshop? Okay, all done. That day was finished, and I also packed off. So it happened. So after 3-4 months, again I had visited that workshop, and this gentleman was there, the same person. And again, same thing, he was there throughout the day and all. I got suspicious. Why such a senior person leaving all his job, spending his entire day in the workshop? Then later on, I asked my service manager, he said, no, sir, whenever he comes, he wants to see his job done by himself, and whatever way it has to be done, he guides and gets it done. That is why he spends his day in the workshop. So that did not satisfy my kind of that whatever kind of a suspicion or kind of a question mark which was there in me. So little later, of course, he had 2-3 cars of ours. That particular brand car, he had 2-3 cars, and I checked up his previous job card when I was there. So just to understand what a whole day spending whatever job is done. In the job card, when I saw, I was surprised to see oil change. That's all. Whereas I've seen myself, he stood, he got his brake cleaning, entire washing of the car, lot of things he got it done. But in that job part, only oil change and cost of the oil and labor was there. So my doubt got confirmed that this gentleman, to cut his expenses on maintenance, he befriended that service manager and with good words. Of course, he used to send a lot of what do you call uh, praising mails also to the management and all. So he is taking advantage of this. So I love that. It so happened after some time, this service manager of that particular unit was transferred to another location. So after some time, as I used to go around, I happened to visit that location, and fortunately or unfortunately, that day that gentleman was present there again. Then just to probe what exactly his intentions are, I asked him, sir, you are a very loyal customer to particular branch, you have shifted here. He said, no, that branch is, then he started telling, no, sir, that branch is good. People are good. I know everybody. They are all very cooperative. They are technically sound, all good words, he said. But however, I have a special rapport with the service manager, so I have come down here. Then my doubt was cleared. It is basically to see that how less he spends on his whether during workshop visits to ensure that he is coming there. So again, it is 80-20 principle. The 20% of the effort what we have put in brings us the total output. 80% of these kind of things we lose out on what we are supposed to make. I am not against customer getting some benefits here and there to see that that liability are intact with me. But I am not at all comfortable if somebody wants to take undue advantage or being close with somebody or talking good about something and taking much more advantage because of those attitudes. And this I have seen in my own career life. So, with this, what do we understand? We understand that when we know 20% of our effort can bring in the required result, our endeavors should always be to see that how do we slowly increase the 20% to 25%, 30%, 40%. When we start doing this, we actually become ourselves more capable, more acceptable, and great professional. This is the way to do it. And most of the time, I see lot of to-do lists. Today I'm to do this. By the end of the day, if you go through this, most of the time it so happens we might have done only 20% of it. But we have got the result. So, in my opinion, we have to always look in what we call this 80%, which will not give us the anything substantial. We can call them as time thieves. They are they are stealing our valuable time. So how do we cut down on these time thieves and make our every minute more productive, valuable? It is of some kind of a betterment of self and the organization for what we are working. We all should be looking in that direction so that it will be self growing along with the organization. This is very important. So I come to the close of today's session. But before closing down, I would like to remind each one of you, if you like these videos, what we are sharing, so that we can collectively enhance our abilities, please share with other your colleagues and friends. Somewhere somebody can benefit out of it. Apart from that, if you have not subscribed till date, kindly do subscribe and press the bell icon so that as and when a new video we upload, you will get the intimation and immediately you can see them. Thank you very much. Be safe. Keep smiling.